Hello, I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Never Let the Truth Get in the Way of a Good Story. And this week I had the incredible honor of interviewing Marcella Cashon in Chadron, who's a centurion this month actually, of February 2020. 2022. Kind of sneaking away from me there. But anyway, when you meet her and when you see the inside of her house and all the love and history on her and what she's about and in her face, it's an amazing tale. She has had a very courageous life, and one of the things I should tell you is that she's a little hard of hearing, and so what I did is just set it up and let the interview run. So it's going to be a little different. So I wanted to couch this a little bit by introducing her, and then we'll just go in and let her tell her story. So happy birthday, happy 100th birthday, Marcella, better known as Sally.
Born Wisconsin,
When was that?
Frederick, Wisconsin,
What year?
1922.
That's wonderful, just wonderful. Well, listen, one of the things that I know is a part of your life, and before we get into that, we're going to talk about these last 100 years, but I want to thank the Harrison House in Harrison for being our great sponsor today.
Yeah.
If you're ever in the Harrison area and you need a place to stay, the Harrison House is it. Just give them a call. Sid will take good care of you, and we're going to get back to Marcella.
Army Corps.
Yes.
Yeah. My friend Catherine Pepper and I were working. They were asking for, it was during the war, and all the men had gone to service. And so they were looking for workers. My friend Catherine Pepper and I signed up, and instead of keeping us in Wisconsin, they put us on a train and sent us to Salt Lake City and on to Logan, Utah, with about 100 other. We cleaned and prepared small airplane parts. We did that for so long, and it was the National Guard, the Army, the Navy, all the veterans were around. You couldn't find a place, apartment. We climbed like a ladder to the third floor, found 2 rooms, and lived on peanut butter sandwiches and walked about a quarter of a mile up to the Utah Agriculture College and cleaned and prepared small airplane parts. We did that for about 3 months. We weren't getting any place. We said, the heck with it. So we went into Salt Lake City and enlisted in the Army. But being that we were out of our territory, they put us on the train, where trains were still running, and it sent us back to Wisconsin. And then we waited for an invitation from Uncle Sam. And then I got my notice. We reported to Fort Oglethorpe, Georgia. And if you ever want to be hot, it was so hot. Even we got out on maneuvers at 6 o'clock in the morning because it was so hot. After 8 o'clock, you couldn't stand to be outside. You were absolutely baked. And there were guys laying along the road, waiting to be picked up by the medical van because it was so hot. And then after, I ate a lot of watermelons. And after the 6 weeks training, then I was stationed in Fort Leavenworth, Kansas. And I was put in the service record department. I kept track of what everybody had, And my friend, she was in the carpool. I often wonder whatever happened to her. And that was where the USO was always having dances and things. And that's where I met Ron's father. I went to a USO dance, and he was there. So we started going together. And after I got my discharge, I only signed up for a year. I was a sergeant my husband was a sergeant, and later on, Ron was a National Guard. He was a sergeant. We had a lot of sergeants in our family. Anyhow, then I got my discharge, and my husband was still in the service, 2 places in Colorado, and then we went to San Antonio, Texas, Fort Sam. And then from Fort Sam, we drove across country to New York, his hometown. I got my discharge. My husband re-signed up, and he was sent to Frobisher Bay, Canada. And then when he came back, while he was gone, I had a home bakery. I bought a house. Back then, Uncle Sam gave you down payment on a house. So I bought a house and opened a home bakery. I made cakes and decorated cakes. I still have all the decorations to do with on cakes. And anyhow, when he came back, there was no work to be done. And I read in the paper where they were looking for workers in Alaska. My husband had just come back got off from the Air Force. He signed up as a second, and I said it took us to go to Alaska, but it took me and the kids about 3 months to get there. He was up there in Yakutat, Alaska, and it took us. We got on planes. We didn't pay our way. We got on an airplane. There was no seats on the airplane. You sat on the floor. Then we got to Chicago, and we were bumped. And we were staying in Chicago about 3 days. Then we got another plane, and we got to Minneapolis, and we were bumped again. And they said we didn't know how long we'd be there. So my brother lived in Minneapolis, and so I called my brother, and he come picked us up and drove us up to Wisconsin, and we spent a month with my folks before we got another plane. And they got from Minneapolis, we got us to Montana, and we were bumped again. And we were there for a few days. And then we got across the state line and landed in Yakutat, Alaska. And my husband, the first thing he said was, "What the hell took you so long?"
And you said?
yeah. And I loved Alaska. The only thing, if you're out, the kids outside playing, always have grown up because the bears and the moose always played in your front yard. And planes coming in. It was a landing for, we were there when the plane hit Mount McKinley. Anyhow, when the day came when they said they were closing all field offices, I loved it up there. It was, I don't know, it was just different. And I kept in contact with several friends. And I just got a letter a couple of weeks ago that the last family I contacted had passed away. And so I'm apparently the last one living from there. I don't know. And you know, I gotta tell you this too. This guy came in when I was up at the hospital. He said, "Are you Marcella Cashon, nee Fox?" I said, "Yes, why?" And he walked away. Now that's driving me crazy because I'm trying to figure out what he was trying to tell me.
Well, maybe we'll figure it out.
Let's see, Fox is my maiden name. So what was he trying to say? I can't imagine.
Yes. Maybe we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to
But
thank you for coming with.
I'm still hanging around.
Yes, well, and I'm glad you are, and I want to thank you today. And I have a hunch we're going to be back for part 2. I really do. This has been very enjoyable. And I want to thank everybody for being a part of this with us today. And again, we want to thank the Harrison House in Harrison for sponsoring. And thank you very much, dear. We're going to be back and see you
I got
soon.
the greatest family, believe me.
I know
They're
them.
wonderful.
I know
He
them.
is.
Yep, you do.
Yeah,
Yep. You're a lucky woman.
yeah.